What's going on, everybody? Birdsinthetrap MMA back at it again with another banger video, okay? I got another slideshow for you guys. Today, as you can see, we're going to be going over the biggest mismatches in UFC history. These are fights that just simply shouldn't have happened based off of where guys were in their career, physicality, or the odds, okay? So let's jump right into it. But before I do that, I want to say thank you for 200 subscribers. We hit 100 subscribers and 200 in the same day. So I really appreciate that. And 2 of my videos have done really well. So yeah, I hope this one does well too. If you enjoy, subscribe and leave a like. And also comment your biggest mismatches in case I didn't put it in here. I didn't put a ton in here. I know there's way more I could have done throughout history, but let's get into it. Okay, number 1, as you saw on my presentation slide in the beginning, Petr Yan versus Urijah Faber. Petr Yan was a minus 470 favorite to Faber, who was a 385. What were they smoking when they made this fight? I want some of that. Okay, Urijah was coming off of 1 win, which, granted, it was a TKO in the first round over a pretty good guy in Ricky Simón. But that was his first fight in like 2.5 years. And then they just fucking threw him into the deep end with Petr Yan, who was already championship caliber when this fight happened. His next fight after this is when he knocked out Aldo and won the title. So, I mean, I know he didn't have the title yet, but this was basically just throw Urijah in with the champion. You know what I mean? Basically, Petr was like #1 contender at this point. Yan scored 3 knockdowns throughout this fight, and he outstruck Faber by a fucking lot. I don't have the numbers pulled up anymore, but it was a lot. And this went exactly how I think most people assumed. Looking at where guys were in their career and also looking at the odds, I think no one is surprised with this outcome. I think the only thing that surprised people was how long it went. You know what I mean? It went to round 3. And Urijah had braids. So when you're a white fighter with braids, it usually doesn't end up well for you. Unless you're Brendan Allen fighting Bruno Silva. All right. Number 2, Conor McGregor versus Cowboy Cerrone. All right, we see here McGregor was a 334 favorite versus Cowboy, who was a 260 underdog. McGregor was coming off of a year. I think it was like a 14-month or 15-month layoff. Right before this layoff was his submission loss to Khabib, which before that was another 2-year layoff. So very inactive going into this fight. And yeah, with that being said, McGregor was still a little motivated. You know what I mean? He wanted to win this fight. He did not want to go out sad on that Khabib loss. So, you know, McGregor was motivated as hell. You know, motivated McGregor is a mythical fighter. So, yeah, Cowboy was coming off of 2 TKO losses. Tony Ferguson, which granted that was like a doctor stoppage in between rounds, but he was getting beat up. And Justin Gaethje knocked him out in the first round. So, I mean, there's that for you. And both of those and Cowboy's win over Al Iaquinta, they both went down during McGregor's hiatus. And his knockout win over Alexander Hernandez. So, Cerrone fought 4 times while McGregor was doing nothing. 2-2 with 2 finishes. But the 2 finishes were back-to-back. Y'all know this. And, you know, this fight was really just made for McGregor to score a highlight reel KO to come back to, which he did, okay? He knocked him, he dazed him with his shoulder, like what the fuck, and then he, you know, clipped him with a head kick. And, you know, this was basically just a showcase for McGregor to show what he'd been working on, you know, flying knee, head kick, stuff you don't really see from McGregor that often. One thing I will say about this fight, though, I wish it went like 4 minutes. You know what I mean? I wish we could have seen a little more of Conor's striking. Because, yeah, it is disappointing how quick this one went down. But with that being said, let's move on to number 3. Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira. This is the first one on the list that doesn't really reflect it in the odds. But that's because Alex Pereira was so unproven at this point, so Strickland was a slight favorite. I actually think when the fight closed, I think it was even money. I think they were both like a minus 110. But yeah, why would Sean agree to this? You know what I mean? Sean is a fucking 170 that went up to middleweight. Pereira is a 205er going down to middleweight. And, I know that it's Sean's character to just not care ever. And that's just how he is. So, I respect him for that. But this was the easiest route for Alex to get into the top 5, which they desperately needed because they wanted that Izzy fight. So, it is what it is. But I must say that this aged well for both of them, okay? Because they ended up becoming friends, and then they both ended up beating Adesanya. You guys know on this channel we are big Adesanya haters, okay? So this is, when this fight happened, I was devastated, but it had to happen for the whole timeline to work out. Same with Alex getting knocked out. I was devastated when it happened, but it had to happen for Sean to win, so it's okay. And Sean was just about to shoot for a takedown before he got knocked out. He was literally about to. That's what Sean would say. And the iCarly stance was born in this fight. Luckily, it got improved though. So, number 4. This fight has not happened yet, but guys, I know we all don't like this fight. Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. If they went straight to this after the Nate Diaz fight, like if Tony never fought Bobby Green, I think I'd be a little more okay with it. But we just saw Tony's ceiling right now. You know what I mean? Like he can't beat someone like Bobby Green, which I can't believe I'm saying these words, man, compared to what Tony once was. But, Paddy is on a 6-fight win streak, although not really because he lost his last fight to Jared Gordon. But on paper, 6-fight win streak versus a 6-fight losing streak. And I think this is a lose-lose fight for both of these guys. If Tony loses, obviously that's 7 L's in a row, and he has to hang it up at that point. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous that he's even fighting still. And this is a lose for Paddy because if he loses, he just lost to Tony Ferg. I don't even know how to do a Paddy Pimblett accent, mate. But he would have just lost to Tony fucking Ferguson after 6 losses in a row. And that's the hype derailed. You know what I mean? Completely derailed. And, if Paddy wins, it's like, dude, you just beat Tony Ferguson after 6 losses. So it's a lose-lose for both guys. I can actually see Paddy, if he wins, I can see him bragging on the mic like, Tony Ferguson, lad. You former interim champion, lad. One of the best in the world, lad. That's a bit more of a Darren Till voice, but you guys get what I'm saying. I'm not the best with the impressions. I think that Paddy has the power and ability to ragdoll Tony because Tony just does not have the strength anymore. He's an old man. No more testosterone in that body. Awkward build. He's always had an awkward build, but it's getting even worse now. And, I think if Tony wins this, he's going to win 5 in a row and then the world title. I'm delusional. All right. So moving on. Number 5, Bo Nickel versus Val Woodburn. Bo Nickel, the biggest favorite in history, I'm pretty sure, versus Val Woodburn, the biggest underdog in history, I'm pretty sure. As you see, minus 240, plus 1,200, respectfully. On paper, this is a someone's O has got to go matchup. You know what I mean? Bo Nickel 5-0 versus 7-0. But this is not a competitive fight, and we can see that in the odds. Bo obviously won, but it didn't go how I expected. I thought Bo would submit him in the first round. Ended up being a TKO in the first round. And there's really not much to say about this fight. But, guys, I want Bo Nickel to get humbled, okay? I know you guys see these interviews where he's just like, yeah, I think I beat the entire top 5. I don't think anyone in there has an answer for my wrestling, and I can just take him down and submit him. And maybe it's true. Like, I get that it's possible, but it's fucking annoying, man. I want him to get humbled. I don't think he'd beat Hamzat, okay? Bo is not experienced enough. Hamzat has way better striking, And Khamzat kind of has better MMA grappling, you know what I mean? So I want Bo Nickal' ass to get humbled eventually. It'd be really funny if he got humbled before he even made it to the rankings. That would be hilarious. And for longtime viewers of the channel, you guys know that I picked Jamie Pickett in Bo Nickal' UFC debut, knowing he would lose, but I picked Jamie Pickett. Moving on to number 6. This is the final one on the list, guys. Paulo Costa versus Johnny Hendricks. The odds don't reflect this too much. You know, they do have Paulo Costa as a favorite, but Hendricks had no business fighting in this weight class. Look at this picture I put up of these fellas. You got old tubby man, plotty man, former welterweight, going up against Paulo fucking Costa, who is a Chad. So, yeah, this fight happened when Paulo was 2-0 in the UFC, and Hendricks was 1-5 in his last 6. He was on his way out. Like I said, dad bod versus Chad bod, and it went exactly how we thought, you know what I mean? Besides it maybe going to the second round, Paulo got the finish. He got the TKO in the second round. And honestly, like, looking at this picture here and looking at these guys face off, it looks like a joke. You know what I mean? It looks like wait, these guys are going to fight? Are you kidding me? Yeah, this was Hendricks' final fight. And this was just a complete mismatch to build up Paulo Costa over a former champion. It's crazy that, you know, Johnny Hendricks went from beating GSP damn near to fighting in middleweight for some reason against Paulo Costa. Anyways, guys, there are many more that I can go over, but I want more content. All right, so I'm going to save it for a part 2 one day when I have nothing else going on. And yeah, just one more time, guys, I want to say thank you for all the support. Okay, we hit 100 and 200 subs in the same day. And yeah, give me your biggest mismatches in the comments below. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like on the video and also subscribe. All right, peace.